Hi and welcome to MyMarketology. I'm Tony and I'm the Head Marketologist. Today's question is around keyword research and the best process. Now, although everyone likes to do the keyword research slightly differently, there are a few sort of best practices that you can follow and a few tools that we use that we thought might be helpful to share with you as well. And what I'd like to do today is actually take you through very quickly through the keyword research process that I use in particular. It might not work for everyone. You might have your own ideas of what works best and which tools to use. But I find that this helps me do the keyword research in a slightly quicker way, although it should still be done in great depth rather than just purely over a 5 or 10 minute process. So the first thing that I would always do would be to set up a spreadsheet, whether that's in Excel or whether it's in Google Sheets, and I'd use these particular format and this template. So I'd look for a keyword column, a volume, competition, the difficulty, and some notes there just in case as well. So the first thing I'd think would be, right, based on my personas, what are people going to be searching for that's going to bring them to this particular page that I'm looking to optimize, or this blog post that I'm looking to optimize, or whatever we're looking to optimize basically. So I'll be using this in conjunction with my buyer personas. Now, the first thing I need to come up is a seed keyword. Now, for this example, we'll use digital marketing, just so I can show you through the whole process with a term that's going to be quite generic and easy to understand from your point of view. Obviously, this seed keyword is going to be based on what your page or your post is going to be about. And then what I'll start doing is start brainstorming ideas that my personas might be looking at searching for. So I could be also looking at digital marketing strategy. They may be looking at digital marketing tips. And basically I'll get as many ideas down as I can possibly brainstorm. It doesn't matter at this stage whether they look correct or whether your common sense tells you that they're probably not going to work. Get everything down on paper, so to speak, get it down in the spreadsheet, and then we can filter everything out later on. So once I've done that, I'll spend as much time as I can doing this, and I will absolutely exhaust my ideas, my brain. I'll get the team involved, everyone around me involved as well, and we'll get everything down on this spreadsheet. So once we've done that, we then can start looking at getting a little bit more specific. So taking our digital marketing seed keyword, what we'll do is put this into Google and we'll search for it. And there we go, so digital marketing, and then we'll start having a look around at what the top pages are ranking for, what language is being used, how it's pulling through as well. So we've got a HubSpot example here, digital marketing as umbrella, so we've got a description of it there. That might be worth looking into to see if there's any other search terms we might be able to use. Digital marketing, data-driven marketing, so what we'll do is we'll put data-driven marketing in there as well. And every time we come across a new idea based on the Google search itself, we'll put that into our spreadsheet as well. Once you've exhausted that, you can then move on. Now what I'd do here is start looking a little bit more broader, and I'll start looking at the words that I'm using surrounding digital marketing. So for argument's sake here, we've got strategy. What other ways can we define strategy? What other words could be used to suggest that as well? And what I use is thesaurus.com to do that. And what I'll do is I'll type in that word, not the digital marketing part, because that's going to be fairly standard, and the data-driven part, but I'll look for strategy and I'll look for some synonyms. So now we've got even more that we can approach. So we've got approach, we've got blueprint, design, method, plan, planning, procedure, scenario, scheme, system, and we can keep going with those. So now, for argument's sake, we'll put digital marketing planning in. That might be relevant to this particular page. We'll put digital marketing planning as well. And we'll keep going through that list for every option. And as these open up new ones, so where we've got plan, we can go back in and we'll type plan and see if that gives us any new suggestions. So could we use any of these? Digital marketing proposal, suggestion, system popping up again there. stratagem. Sometimes you will get words and synonyms through that just make no sense at all. Sometimes it's just a case of you'd need to discount those rather than evidently putting them in, such as animus. Who's ever going to use the word animus in a search? It may do, it may be worth checking, but it's not often those types of things come through. So it's worth using a little bit of common sense there. But again, just brainstorm, get everything down on, and then we can filter our options down later on. Because ultimately what we want to do is exhaust every possible search term that somebody's going to use to find our page or our blog post, and then narrow those down to maybe 5 or 10 specific keywords that we think are absolutely bang on relevant, and then we'll look to optimize the page for those. Now, as I say, this keyword research isn't just for SEO purposes. This is exactly the same process that you go through if you were looking at planning a PPC marketing campaign or strategy as well. The keywords that people are going to be using to find the ads will then need to click on those ads to go through to relevant pages on the site. So the SEO keyword research and the PPC keyword research process is exactly the same. So as I say, once we've been through Thesaurus, we've gone through every variation and theme, and we've got as many keywords out of that as we possibly can, and we've really milked that. What I then do is go on to Wikipedia. And what I'll do is, again, I'll search in for the seed term, first of all. So we'll go for digital marketing. And then what I'll do is I'll have a look through the descriptions and the language that's being used on these pages. So now digital marketing, we've got maybe search engine optimization, search engine marketing. Again, it depends on the content of the blog or the page that you're optimizing for. But again, this can open up a lot of new terms. So online marketing, internet marketing, web marketing. Again, all terms that people might use to search and actually find our pages. Once I've exhausted that, I'll then go through as many different terms that I've come up with already. So maybe we'll look at digital marketing strategy and see if that has its own page and own descriptions. And if it doesn't, we can find some that do. So marketing strategy, we'll look at that. Digital strategy, we'll look at that. Push-pull strategy maybe. Promotion marketing, guerrilla marketing, all those terms. So again, we'll exhaust every opportunity we can on Wikipedia. Once I've used Wikipedia, I'll then go on to 2 sites that actually use the Google Auto suggest. So when you complete these here, this will actually bring up suggested options, and at the bottom of the search terms you get searches related to as well. It's always worth looking through Google to do that, but Ubersuggest and Answer the Public, which are the 2 sites I use, also do that job for you as well, and give you the results in slightly different formats. One thing I also need to mention is, if you're using Chrome or any browser or search engine that you're logged into, as you can see I'm logged in on the right there, it's always worth conducting the searches as well in an incognito or a private browser window as well, because the results will be slightly different. Google and Firefox in particular, the browsers will remember and adapt to what you're searching for, and Google will start giving you more relevant results based on your own search history rather than everyone else's. So it's always worth running these searches through both you're logged in and logged out through an incognito. So as you can see, we're filling this up. I'm not completing everything because we'd literally be up to hundreds of keywords that we could use already at this stage. But what I'll then do is go into Ubersuggest and then start typing in those terms again. So we've got digital marketing, and we'll change for our purposes to the United Kingdom. We'll suggest. It's doing a little bit of whizzing and whirring for us. Doesn't look too happy with that search. Let's try again. No, looks like Uber suggested having a moment. I'll just try that again in a few seconds. What we'll do is go on to answer the public, and we'll do that same search. As you can see, if nothing else, Answer the Public's got a great GIF on the opening page. So we've got digital marketing, and as you can see on Answer the Public, what it'll do is it actually separates up into top answers, some questions involving those words, some prepositions, and everything in alphabetical as well. So first of all, the questions. Now this is great for brainstorming blog post ideas, but also great for finding out other search terms that people might be looking for as well. And as you can see, it's got where, which, who, what, when, why, and how. So an example, how digital marketing works. So again, that might be a term that we want to show for if we're looking at strategy and we're looking at digital marketing in general. How digital marketing will change in 2017. So maybe that's a consideration. Digital marketing in the music industry. Digital marketing helping business, that sort of thing. So again, it's full of new options for you that you might not be able to brainstorm yourself. Prepositions is absolutely brilliant as well for that purpose. So we've got digital marketing for startups, digital marketing for lawyers, digital marketing for B2B. And again, it gives us loads of new ideas and keywords. And then if we want to be really, really quick about it, we can go through and it gives us as many options as it can think of from that point as well. As I mentioned before, Uber Suggest does virtually the same thing if their systems are working. And again, it's not playing now, but I will run another video through to show you how Uber Suggest works. So once we've exhausted those, we can then move on to another great tool that I like to use, which is Quora.com. I don't know if anyone uses it out there. If you do, leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on using it for the keyword research process. But what we can do is type in, again, maybe our seed keyword. Go very top level with this. Don't be too specific. And what we'll do is look at topic, as you can see there. So we've got marketing digital. So again, we'll look through the questions and answers, see what language is being used. We'll then maybe look at the broad search for digital marketing. And again, this will give us sort of wiki pages. We can then filter by questions, answers, posts, profiles. And again, there might be certain pieces of language that you'll pick out as you have a quick scan through these. Again, I would suggest going through in depth and looking at every post that you can possibly find and spending a long time looking at the keywords, because the better the research is, the better the results are going to be that you'll find at the end of it. So here we've got interactive marketing company. So interactive marketing might be a term we want to look at as well. User submitted content communities, is that part of digital marketing? Is it relevant to what we're wanting to do? But you can see, and we'll keep fishing through and putting any new ideas that we've got into our spreadsheet. Again, at this stage, it doesn't matter how long that list of keywords is, you just keep building it. If there's duplicates in there, we can remove them. You just keep adding ideas on as you go. So once we've exhausted Quora, I then would move on to a site called Board Reader. Now what this does is basically takes information from millions of different pages and blog posts and forums, and it will give you suggestions on topics to read. Really, again, really useful for doing research. Also really good for the keyword research piece as well. Now we're not necessarily looking for location specific queries here. What we're looking for again is, are there certain terms that are used in here that would be helpful for us if someone was searching for the page or post that we're optimizing for. So again, we've got digital channel distributions. Maybe that's something we'd look for. Digital marketing ideas, digital marketing materials. Again, you'll find that the language here helps you start thinking from a customer or prospect's point of view. And again, just exhaust this situation. Exhaust as many keywords as you can out of this. Make the most of the platform. They're all free to use. Some you do need to set up an account for. Some are just pure unlimited use as well. So that's Board Reader. Once you've exhausted that, you'll now have quite a big list. I would have thought you'd potentially be into at least a few hundred, if not a few thousand, depending upon what you're looking for and how selective you've been on choosing as you've gone through as well. You may have noticed at this stage we've not used any of the keyword planner tools. We've not been into Google, we've not been into Bing. And the reason we do that is because we want to see from a customer and prospect's point of view what they're likely to be searching for first. We want to actually go through that process rather than relying on Google telling us what they think people are searching for and what Bing think people are searching for. They're always going to be sort of self-serving to a degree. They'll give you the information that they want to give you. If you're doing this legwork yourself, you're acting like a customer or prospect yourself, as you would be doing going through Ubersuggest, Answer the Public, Quora, Board Reader, Google Search itself, Bing Search. Again, use the different search engines. Look for this auto-suggest filters there too. Use those keywords and get them in the list. Once and only then, when you've got your full list together and you're happy that you've exhausted all these options, only then start going to the keyword planning tools. So we've done Board Reader, we've exhausted that. We'll now go on to Google AdWords tools first. As you can see, we're in the tools section. We go on to the keyword planner. Now, before we start looking at getting search volume data and trends, the next thing I would do is actually search for new keywords using a phrase, website or category, and use your page here. So wherever that is, the page that you're going to be optimizing for, or a competition page as well. First of all, use your own landing page if possible, if that post's been put out or if that page is live. Let Google give you some suggestions on what it thinks. Again, they're only over top level views. They're not going to be quite as selective and quite as intricate search terms as you may have come up with yourself to this stage. But put in your landing page, choose this option here, and then only show ideas closely related to the search terms, and then get ideas. It'll whiz and whir a little bit, and it will come up with ideas for the page that you've put in. As you can see on this example, I've actually used Google's own home page. You can do that with competition as well. So if you've got a page that's ranking higher than you are, get it in here, have a look at what Google thinks the keyword ideas should be for that page, and it might give you an idea on what that company's using as well. So we've got keyword ideas. So as you can see, we've got some slightly random ones here. We've got baseball cage netting, car key machine, phone case pixel. But if you're doing it on your own page, and if you're doing it on a competition page, then you will get slightly more relevant results. It will give you a rough idea on monthly searches as well, the competition and suggested bids. Take all of these with a pinch of salt. Unless you're spending a lot of money with Google, they won't give you accurate scores anymore. So it's a case of use what you think is best guess. It will give you sort of comparison. So if something they're saying is between 100 to 1,000 average searches a month, and then another one's 10 to 100, as you can see here, you can honestly say that this is likely to get more searches than the one underneath. But again, take them with a pinch of salt. They're not sort of gospel, these figures that they're giving now at this stage, unfortunately. You can do the same with Bing as well. Go into the Bing ads, use their tool, the keyword planner tools, virtually the same setup as Google AdWords. Put in your terms and they are slightly more accurate. But bear in mind that their results are only showing Bing results, not people using Google. So you'll be able to again get a comparison of what the higher search terms are and the lower used. But again, it's not going to be as accurate. So again, we're here, we're using the keyword planner tools now, working towards the back end of our keyword research process. What we'll then do is, once we've got all of these terms in our spreadsheet, we'll then start to look at removing duplicate keywords from them to start with. There is an option to get a plugin or an add-on into Google Sheets to remove duplicates. You can see it there. All you need to do is just search for Google Sheets, remove duplicates add-on, download that, and then that will start working immediately in your sheets. On Excel, all you need to do is go under the data tag and then remove duplicates through there and filter accordingly there. Once you've done that, what you then want to do is cut and paste all the keywords that you've got, go back into the tools, and now what you want to do is get the volumes. So copy and paste everything you've got in there. You can also upload a file if you want in the formats that it suggests there, and then get the search volumes. And as I say, we've got some quite broad terms in there, and you would have thought in the UK that digital marketing will get more than 10,000 to 100,000 searches a month, and you would have thought it's quite high competition. So again, as I say, take these results with a pinch of salt, but at least you can see the higher results rather than low ones. Again, you'll probably have a few hundred to go through, but then start getting this information as best you can back into the volume and competition sections here, because then what you can do is later on filter down into the ones that are slightly lower competition but higher volume. They're the ones that are going to be easy to optimize for, rather than having to go through a lot of effort and compete with the bigger players out in the search engine results pages. Remove any keywords from here that don't make sense. So if you've got digital marketing 2013 in there, it's not relevant now, so get rid of that. Year ones are definitely worth considering. If there's a year in there, make sure it is the current year rather than anything past, unless you're optimizing for that specific past date. Remove anything that doesn't make sense. Sometimes you'll copy a few keywords in and the words will be in the wrong order and they don't seem to make sense. Get rid of those too. That just clears the list out a little bit, but you're likely to have hundreds of keywords anyway, so just keep filtering and filtering. Then what you need to do is filter by search volume and choose the keywords that are high enough volume but aren't very high competition, unless you're already on the front page for the search results in the organics, or unless you're willing to pay a little bit more for the PPC marketing and advertising. Keep to the medium or low competition but high volume if possible. If not, it just makes things a little bit more difficult. Doesn't mean you can't try them, but it just makes sense to spend money, especially on PPC, where there's a greater chance of getting the volumes with less competition, because it means the clicks are going to cost you a lot less as well. Once you've got those completed, as you can see, I've got a final column here which is keyword difficulty. Now, this is quite an important one, because although the volumes might be high and the competition might be low, it might be difficult to actually rank for these in SEO in the organics, and that also translates over into higher PPC per click costs. So what I use here is a tool called Seo Quake. It's an add-on tool that you can get into Chrome, into any of the browsers. Just look for the add-ons themselves. Seo Quake, I'll put a link to this under the video as well. You put the term in, and what it does is it actually comes up with a keyword difficulty score here, and it tells you it's for the google.co.uk database. Now it's telling me that digital marketing has a keyword difficulty of 86.19%. So what I'll do is I'll actually put that into my template, and I'll do that for every keyword that I've got. And then what I can do is make an educated decision of what's the best options for me to go with. We want high volume, we want low competition, but we also want a low keyword difficulty score. Now anything sort of 50% and below is usually quite an easy, quite a low difficulty score. When we're looking at sort of 70s, 80s, especially 90s upwards, it's going to be extremely difficult to get in on that action on the first page if you're not already ranking on that first page. It does mean that there's great difficulty and a lot of competition try to usurp and get onto those positions. So once I've got this full spreadsheet completed with my hundreds of keywords, more than likely anyway, I've got the volumes, I've got competitions, I've got keyword difficulties. I can make notes if I wish to do so as well. That's purely there just sometimes for brainstorming additional ideas and maybe looking at the URLs we might link to later on. I would then look to narrow it down to maybe 5 or at maximum really 10 keywords that you'd be looking to optimize. Best practice for SEO in theory would be 1 keyword per page. But there's nothing wrong with optimizing for maybe 2-3 keywords or key search terms. As long as you're keeping the language natural, you're not stuffing keywords into image alt text, or try to hide it that way. As long as you stay above board and best practice from the SEO point of view, then maybe stick to maybe 2 to 5 keywords or key phrases per page. So that's a full quick run through of the keyword research process that I use. It'd be great to get your thoughts on how useful you think that is, whether you've got any other tricks that you like to use. We're always open to any questions, so you can use any of our social channels to contact us. You can also email us at hello@mymarketology.com, and I'll answer any questions as soon as I can. We'll try and get them out in a video format for you as well. I'd like to thank you for calling by and visiting us again today. And as I say, if you've got any questions, let us know, and if not, I'll see you again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now.